to the Reese's Writing YouTube channel. Today we are going to be wrapping up what I did, what I read and what I watched in January 2025. 2025. Okay, let's begin with my books that I've read. Okay, so I started off January with Mr Pye by Mervyn Peake. So this is about a man who goes to the island of Sark off the coast of England / Great Britain, whatever you want to call it, and goes to teach people about goodness and what it is to be good. And he talks about God, but in sort of not a fully Christian way, but in like a his own way type of deal. He calls him his pal, I believe it's pal. And he comes across some amazing characters. Mervyn Peake's so good at characters, at developing these unique, very British, funny characters that have these really unique personalities to them. And this is, he doesn't like shy away from those in here. There's some really cool characters in this book, as with Gormenghast, and this is sort of him, Mr Pye, discovering lots of different people and coming to terms with him and what it is to be good, and the evils that lie within him and within the island and within London. And it gets a bit weird. There's some weirdness to it, which I enjoyed. Some like supernatural-esque parts, which I thought were really cool. There's little drawings as well from Mervyn Peake, from Mr Peake in there, like beginning of chapters. I do love Mervyn Peake's drawings, something like that, just little drawings to sort of get you into the feel of it. And yeah, I enjoyed my time in Mr Pye. It's quite a short book, less science fiction-y, more normal sort of fiction, comedy type book, but highly enjoyable. I'd give Mr Pye 4 stars. This behemoth, The Curse of the Mistwraith by Janny Wurts. This is about 2 brothers, I think they're half brothers, and their many different sort of journeys throughout the world of Ethera, and this underlying threat of the Mistwraiths, and that developing into a bigger battle between the Wars of Light and Shadow, and that's the main name of the series. Janny Wurts has such an amazing style to really bring you into this world of Ethera that she's created, and it's totally unique to the world under Janny Wurts. Like, from reading the Gallant to this, her writing is a lot less floral and a lot less difficult to get into with this. Although I still sort of struggled with her writing. I don't know if I think I got into it more as it went on. I sort of tried to really focus. I read out loud, which I haven't really done before, and I really enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed how it made me focus more onto the words, and I started to understand sentences more when I did it. So that's something that I didn't really know about before reading The Curse of the Mistwraith about me. But I think it's got such a sort of unique language to it. It's a fantastical language, which makes it really cool and really interesting. It's a good story as well. Lots of sort of characters and people that you get introduced to, and this whole magical system is really interesting. It's not like over bearing. There's not a lot of depth to the magical system like there is in some other fantasy books. Creative magical system about like sort of, it's almost like ley lines type thing throughout the world that people can sort of attune to through sort of music potentially, or something other. They're sort of tuners, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. That's a really nice sort of magical system to it, and it's about them sort of discovering their magic and discovering their sort of rivalry as well, because it sort of plays off that, and that's a big point in this story. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought that sometimes the words that she used were there's so many of them that it didn't allow for allow for pause. I don't know. It felt kind of like it was sort of barreling at speeds with all the words of descriptions, that it didn't allow for like things to really manifest. I don't know. I felt sometimes the characters didn't have sort of moments to breathe in there. There were parts that of course did, but it was there was so many things that she wanted to put into each page that became overwhelming for me anyway. Didn't allow for certain characters to sort of grow and develop on the page. And I will be going on to the Ships of Merior maybe in February. We'll see how things go. And then after that, I went on to The Philosopher's Stone by Colin WIlson. So this is about a man developing his knowledge on aging. It's mainly his sort of fascination with the mind and dreams, not really dreams, but sort of the mind and creativity. Who have a creative mind is very like the sort of subjects that he likes to go back to, sort of from the outsider. He likes to sort of develop in this, and he does it really well, Colin WIlson. He has a lot of sort of subjects he wants to cover, and so this is really about this professor who wants to understand how aging can sort of be elongated by creativity, and has more of a theoretical mind. People who are sort of less rational, it's hard to explain. So people who like have more VE, which is sort of a visceral experience, they sort of gain more longevity. I think that's sort of research, and there's a lot of stuff that is real and like is based off real fact, and he's done so much research. He's like an incredible research, like he read hundreds of books. He had like an amazing library, I've heard, that he goes back to, and he's got such a wealth of knowledge that it makes this book, it almost tricks you. It's kind of it like tricks you into a false sense of security. You're like, okay, he knows his facts. He knows like how like Shakespeare and Francis Bacon and like their sort of relationship. He knows about philosophy and sort of how the mind works and how the brain works, what sort of places in the brain control which parts of your mind or like your thoughts. So he has a lot of knowledge. He lulls you into some weird false sense of security and then hits you right in the fucking head with some batshit stuff that you don't even realize you're reading it. You're like, okay, this is like real, and then all of a sudden I'm having to research whether or not this is an actual thing, because it sounds so made up, and some of it is incredibly made up, but it's done so well that you don't even realize. And it's sort of done in these almost sort of writings of a man and his slow understanding of these things that he's found, with the metal that you can put into your brain, and it expands your mind almost. It expands your brain into more of a, it sort of uses what more of a part, like your prefrontal cortex, I believe it is. It uses more of that, unlocks more potential in your brain, and that can develop into lots of different things. And yeah, it goes crazy, and you should read it because it slowly unravels this crazy story. You don't see it coming, and you're all of a sudden like, what the fuck is this? There's sort of like Lovecraftian elements to it, and I won't give any more to it. I really enjoyed it, and I think the only sort of problem I had was it didn't really have any parts. It had like 2 parts to it. There was no chapters, and I think it may be just this version is a bit of a weird one, but I don't care. I still really enjoyed it, and I'd give Philosopher's Stone, I'd give it 4 stars as well. I didn't say Curse of the Mistwraith. I give Curse of the Mistwraith 4 stars as well. We're all going 4 stars. And then I'm nearly at the end of The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula Le Guin. This is a very small book, but it doesn't hold back on some amazing story and amazing characters, and like this whole sort of idea of how this man can dream and control, or like change the future, change the past, sort of almost put people in a different dimension. No, not a different dimension, like a different timeline type thing. It's really well done, and the professor that is doing these experiments is a nasty little shit, but he has his reasonings almost, but he's also a little shit. So that's all I'll say. It's a great book. It's probably one of my favorite Ursula Le Guin books that I've read so far, and yeah, I'm looking forward to reading more of it, and I will not review it because I haven't finished it. And then I started listening, I've nearly finished listening to Hardboiled Wonderland and the End of the World by Haruki Murakami. This was sort of suggested. This is Liminal Space's favourite book, I believe, ever. I think it's his favourite book ever. And I previously read 1Q84, and I enjoyed it. It was a very slow build, 1Q84, but the mysteries and the little creatures in this sort of weird world that was developing was really well structured. And this isn't this is sort of similar in that sort of way of this world that's in the background, that's like more fantastical, more magical, and there's slow developing of this world is really well done. This character, the main character, is good, and like he just creates such a unique world that I don't know how he does it. He does it so well. He just knows how to like use these pretty crazy, like different aspects of the world, and aspects of his mind in a really like well planned out way. It just seems like, I don't know how he does it, but it just seems so well planned out, this bonkers world and his bonkers story. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I don't think I'm a massive Haruki Murakami fan. I don't know if I just need to maybe read one of his books instead of listening. But I think they are quite, by what I'm seeing is they're sort of similar. Maybe 1Q84 and Hardboiled Wonderland are sort of similar. I like this one probably more in terms of its ideas of it being in the brain and his sort of dreams and visions and these like this work that he has to do, like reshuffling, and this whole mystery of this old man and the Inklings. I like those ideas. I don't know if I prefer 1Q84's sort of relationship and the sort of love relationship between the two main characters in 1Q84. I think I prefer that more, the characters in 1Q84. But still, Hardboiled Wonderland is a really good listen, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm probably like, I'm near the end. I've got like maybe 3 hours left of. And then film. I've watched a lot of films this month. It's just been my film month, and I probably want to carry on watching films because I enjoy it. I did say to myself at the beginning of the new year that I would stop watching TV and instead just go straight to films because I just enjoy films, and TV, like, it requires a lot of your time to watch these multi-series of hour-long episodes. It's a lot of time. Film, you just have one hour, 30-minute thing, and you're done. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of films. I won't go into some of the details. I go into the ones that I haven't done a video on, or I'm not going to do a video on, because I've started watching films I will do videos on. So I won't go into details about those. So to start the year off, I watched Nosferatu, the new Robert Eggers film. And it was good. I think the more I get away from it, the less I enjoyed it, the less I sort of like it. It has an amazing style, as in Robert Eggers stuff in general. The dark and the fog. There was one part of whatever his name is, the main characters, who goes to Count Dracula's castle when he meets the carriage. That is such an amazing scene. It's super iconic. Like, it's amazingly done, and there's some really good scenes. I think the pacing's a bit weird. It feels like he's trying to shove in the whole novel, trying to get all the sort of key points, the ship, the going to his castle, going to see this insane man, and the initial travel to the man, to Dracula. There's so much to get in a film that I feel like he could have sort of cut some of the scenes out and kept it more sort of like isolated, and it would have played a lot better with the whole atmosphere and the feeling of it all. I think could have been much more explored, and the characters as well, when this one felt kind of rushed. And but besides that, like, it was really, really good. Yeah, Robert Eggers is doing some great stuff, and Dracula was really good, the monster, Nosferatu, I should say, and I enjoyed it. But I feel like I'm kind of done with vampire stuff. That's why I didn't really do a review of it or anything, because I was kind of I did a lot of vampire stuff in that video that I did on Dracula, and going through all the sort of books and films, which I'll put in the corner. Nosferatu, I'd give 3.5 stars. Yeah, 3.5 stars I'd probably give Nosferatu. Burn After Reading, which is a Coen Brothers film. I love the Coen Brothers. I love Fargo. I love Big Lebowski. I should really go through their discography. Loved No Country for Old Men. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was really good. I liked Hell Caesar. I didn't think it was amazing, but I still enjoyed it. I would like to re-watch Barton Fink. I think I watched Blood Simple as well, and I thought that was pretty good. Oh, The Tragedy of Macbeth I really loved as well. So yeah, they're one of my favorites. Yeah, they're one of my favorites, and Burn After Reading was really fun. A really fun sort of comedy about spies and surveillance, like spies surveilling other spies, and sort of this snowballing, which Coen brothers do really well with sort of Fargo, The Big Lebowski. I give Burn After Reading 4 stars. And then I watched Adaption, which is a Spike Jonze film. I recently watched Being John Malkovich, which is also a Spike Jonze thing. Adaption is sort of a more meta film, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a huge fan of meta-esque films about this writer who is trying to write a film about a book about flowers, and he's like struggling to write it. And I just thought this was a really good film study film. Like, I can see why this would be on film student poster, like film student walls, because it's so about the struggles of writing and like all that stuff. And I just think it's kind of pretentious. It's a bit too pretentious for me. I wanted to punch Nick Cage sometimes, and maybe that's just because he was a good character, because he was really frustrating to watch, and his social inadequacies. And then I watched A Real Pain, which is a film by Jesse Eisenberg, a really new one, with Kieran Culkin. It's about them getting back in touch and like finding a sort of common ground, but also Kieran Culkin's character is kind of frustrating, and I feel like that sort of let it down a little bit. But I really enjoyed A Real Pain. I did really enjoy this sort of development of understanding the two main characters and their relationship beforehand, unheard of problems that they are dealing with, and their fears about social situations and their histories with family and Gran, I believe it is, or their auntie or something. She's died, she's passed away, and they go back to her childhood home in Poland, and that's the sort of main reason for them going. But also they go to a concentration camp to get the whole thing, and Kieran Culkin's characters and that into that whole idea of this sort of touristy tour. They made such a good sort of team with the characters and the actors that, yeah, really good. I'd give it 4.5 stars. And then I watched Nickel Boy, which is by RaMell Ross. This is based on a book by Colin WIlson Whitehead. Pretty much the film is about this young boy as he grows up, and he gets into he takes a wrong turning, pretty much goes into sort of a penitentiary, young man's penitentiary, a young boy's penitentiary, and him getting, racist, like it's super racist. This is in the 1960s, and where sort of segregation is hugely massive. There's a white part of the penitentiary and a black part of the penitentiary, and the sort of the complete like change, or the comparison is massive. Like the white boys can like play football, and they have like luxuries, they can eat good food, and the black boys can't, like they have really bad food, they can't play football, like all the teachers really despise them, and they sort of it's about him sort of finding friends in that situation. And amazing. Like there's some it's quite sort of avant-garde-esque, like with some imageries that aren't like obvious but have some form of meaning to them in the background. And really good. It has this whole environment sort of done in POV, so the main sort of camera is on the main character's point of view, and it sort of switches sometimes, but that's the main way that we see this story, and it's amazing. It really you get to empathize with this character and his sort of struggles that he goes through from a little kid to this boy. Really good film. I give it 4.5 stars as well. I did the five sci-fi films I watched last week. You can go see that video where I do my sort of review on it. And then I watched Mars Express by Jeremie Perin. So this is a animated science fiction movie about this detective and her AI/robot guy, co-partner, and them sort of investigating these murders and finding out what happened to this woman who died in sort of university. She's in university, and the unraveling of that. It's very sort of Blade Runner-y. It's got some amazing tech in it. Some of the tech is really well thought out, like airbag system in cars that sort of explodes and it covers the whole car and covers the whole interior of the car. Really just interesting things, and they add a lot to the story as well. They're not just sort of throwaway parts. They're actually sort of creating this whole environment and this story around the sort of tech. And they go to Mars, and that's the investigation. And really stylish. I thought the story was really well done. I think the ending was a bit rushed, in my opinion. And there was a lot of sort of cuts to different scenes, really quite abrupt, like cuts to black, and you're in the next scene. There wasn't much resolution to sort of scenes. I really enjoyed Mars Express. I think the animation was really cool as well, sort of done in this sort of the Invincible-esque drawing, comic book-esque style. I'd give it 4 stars. Okay, I watched Baby Girl by... who the hell did this? Baby Girl by Helena Rain? And it's I thought after going out of this that this was 50 Shades of Grey for the A24 people. And there's a lot of sex and what sex means to people, people's sort of dominating-esque things, and it's a sort of interesting look at this character who's a CEO but has under it all this sort of lingering thing that she hasn't really explored yet in sex and in her sort of environment with her friends, or there's just that part that's not been satisfied, and this guy comes along. He's sort of an intern, and he can supply it, or knows how to supply it in a way. And it's about them and her exploring that thing that's been missing in her life, pretty much. And I thought it was really well done, and the character was really interesting. I couldn't take Antonio Banderas seriously, because all I could think of was him in Puss in Boots, and I couldn't take him seriously. There were some funny moments in this as well. Was a bit of a surprise. I didn't really think this was going to be kind of funny, but it was. And I'd give it probably 4 stars. Yeah. And then I watched 1 Hour Photo. 1 Hour Photo by Mark Romanek. It's from 2002. And it's about... So Robin Williams is this character who develops photos. He creates this sort of almost stalker-esque relationship with this woman and her family as he sees photos of them, and he has seen this young boy grow up from a baby, and he has this parasocial relationship with them, and it goes it spirals, and he gets a bit too crazy, a bit too controlling, and yeah, really well done. Robin Williams is great. I haven't watched much Robin Williams films, and I want to watch more of them. And yeah, although he's done comedy, he can do crazy stalker really well. And it does it subtly, but it just feels right. He feels right for the job. And yeah, really good film. Give it a full 4 stars again. And then finally, I watched Breathless by Jean-Luc Godard. This is because I watched Alphaville and I enjoyed it. I always sort of wanted to watch more sort of French New Wave or older French films. And I enjoyed this more than Alphaville. I think this is his sort of main film that people recognize him from. And it's basically about this young guy who steals cars and sort of tries to sell them on, and he's a bit of a like charmer. Like, he goes around to different girls and like tries to sleep with them, and just talks to them, and he has lots of different sort of jobs coming in, and it's him sort of exploring Paris, and him meeting this girl who sells the New Yorker, and she's American but has moved to Paris, and like it's about their sort of relationship. It's sort of not clear cut. It's she has sort of this unique feeling to her. She's not your boring like run of the mill woman character. She's a bit sort of, she doesn't really know what she wants with a relationship. She doesn't know whether she wants to love the main character, and it's sort of that at play. It is a lot of sort of talking and like just being in one room talking, and like the guy trying to sleep with her and her not sure, and like that whole thing, and them just listening to music and like them talking. And yeah, I thought it was really good, and makes me love Paris and want to go to Paris again more. So yeah, I'd give it 4 stars. And that is it. We did it, people. I got through them. Okay, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.